Multi-party coalition in the city of Johannesburg says it will not allow further disruptions to take place again. My colleague Mbali Thethani is keeping an eye on developments there following that briefing. So give us a little bit of context for somebody who's not familiar with the story and developments as we heard them this afternoon.
Well, do you remember that last week the city of Johannesburg tried to have its first council meeting for the year, and this stems from those 2021 local government elections. We know that the city is, of course, run by this multi-party coalition agreement, and of course it consists of various parties, which is of course the DA, the likes of Action SA, COPE, the Patriotic Alliance, and the Freedom Front Plus, as well as the IFP and the ACDP. But of course last week they tried to vote in the chair of chairs and of course the chairpersons for the Section 79 committees. But just to give us more clarity, we saw council descending into chaos after the EFF, of course, as well as the ANC disrupted that council session and not allowing the agenda for the day to go ahead. But of course, the parties, they are preparing once more to hold council, and that is expected to take place tomorrow, where they are expected to vote once more. Last week, the issue was that the ANC and the EFF wanted it done through a secret ballot, but according to the rules, it can only be done through of course, a vote of hand inside the council. But just to give us a bit of clarity in terms of what we can expect, we are joined by the Action SA's John Moodey. Last week, the council descended into chaos. You've come here saying that you will not allow this to take place once more tomorrow.
That is a definite yes. We will not allow it to happen tomorrow. Now, of course, we cannot control the behavior of the ANC and the EFF. But what will definitely happen is that we will exercise every power that we have, of course, through the Speaker, but then also as political parties, to hold the ANC and the EFF and the leadership to account for their actions tomorrow, as we are holding them accountable for their actions, the deplorable actions, on last week and Thursday. So the Speaker will definitely have a more tighter rein. He's gone through a process with his advisors and so on as to what steps he can take and exercise tomorrow, and he will exercise all of those. And if need be, if they continue with their disruptions, and he has exhausted all the tools at his disposal, we will then approach the courts to have, because there is, to bring them to order, because there is already a decided case in Tshwane where this type of behavior in the last dispensation, last term of office, where the ANC and the EFF has disrupted that council sittings time and time again, which led to the ultimate collapse, and you had Mahile stepping in to illegally take over the city and run it under administration. The court has ruled that they can hold individuals and parties accountable when they disrupt council meetings, so we will take those steps as well.
And the issue here being this voting process being done through a secret ballot. The EFF and the ANC want this done through a secret ballot, but at the same time, you are saying that this has to be done through a show of hands.
Well, you must remember that the Speaker has the discretion, because the Structures Act is very clear that there are 3 specific positions that are within the law that has to be by secret ballot. There is no choice, and that is the Mayor, the Speaker, and the Chief Whip. Thereafter, the act itself is silent, but then you go back to precedent, and you go through common practice. And common practice over the years, and I have served, in 23 years ago, I served in this council, and it was by show of hands. I served for 18 years in the legislature by show of hands, because it is more or less similar rules that applies. And even in Parliament, when it comes to the election of the chair of chairs and committee chairs, it happens by a show of hands. And it is a prerogative of the presiding officer. And the presiding officer went back on best practice. And he made a ruling last week and Thursday, said this will be by a show of hands.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off there. Thank you very much. Of course, that is John Moodey speaking on behalf of Action SA, and of course some of those parties in that multi-party coalition, talking about, of course, those crucial appointments that need to be made tomorrow in council, well, we will now wait and see, Dudu, if whether tomorrow the city can have those who are meant to be appointed in those positions.
Mbali Thethani, thank you very much for those details.